Man, look, dog. Oh, bruh. Look, I know. I hear it all the time. Y'all say I need to come back to this thing. Y'all say I need to come back and make YouTube videos. Oh, bruh, I don't know. This it? This y'all man's? This Zoom? I don't know, bruh. This UFC 5. I skipped 4 entirely. I said I would. I'm a man of my word. I ain't never buy that shit. I'm a man of my word. I couldn't put no money in it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make myself do it. It would have been like literally like pulling teeth, bro. It'd have been like literally like it'd have been crazy. Like it'd been crazy. But this y'all man, this UFC 5. Everybody gets. I mean, I see a lot of new faces. You know what I'm talking about? I see a lot of new channels. I see a lot of new people trying to do this thing that we call create content. This thing that's supposed to push us forward and show the game development love and blah blah blah. We see all of that stuff, but I see a lot of y'all new. I'm gonna basically look like a new person to a lot of y'all because I've been gone for so long. I don't know, dog. I keep when I watch this stuff. This stuff trips me out, bro. But I ain't finna hold y'all. Ain't no way I'm finna sit through this 21-minute video for a third time. I watched it once on the one time. I watched it once on my boy Pride's channel. I ain't finna put y'all through it a third time. There are just key sections that I want to highlight and scroll through. I'm about to watch the deep dive feature of Marshall Mind. They got him all on the IGN channel, cutting up. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know what I'm talking about? I see other videos calling him a sellout. That's crazy. People mad disrespectful. They forget that man been a part of like the MMA gaming community since EA MMA was a thing. Like he got videos on his channel from going to E3, watching animations from EA MMA, and he was critical back then. So if you think mans ain't gonna still be critical now, it's kind of weird because go watch some old videos on his channel. Go back to oldest. That man saw a body kick in a video and was like, this animation's terrible. Go back and watch it. But that was, in the past time. Let me play this video real quick. Welcome turn off my personal music.
UFC 5 gameplay deep dive.
My
name is Marshall Mind, and today
we aware. We know.
Brand new features designed to deliver a whole new level of MMA authenticity and immersion to
we'll look authenticity,
at like the real impact system,
real impact
animations, Doctor Stop.
Okay. Look. Don't try to play with me, bruh. All right, let's go back to this check hook, right? See, they kind of like, I feel like this is, I don't know. I'm not going to give myself too much credit here, but on Twitter, I saw this video, right, with the check hook, and I pointed out that Masvidal is still taking damage when the uppercut from Nate Diaz comes through. Not only is that the forward moving uppercut, which is one of the slower animations, the forward moving strikes are slower than the stationaries, they're slower than the side movings. And he still was able to land, even though Masvidal and him started to check animations at the same time. Like, do I need to freeze frame it? Am I just like, is my eyes work different than everybody else's? Like, what's going on? Hold on, let's go back. Let's bag it up a pinch, you know what I'm saying? Let's bag it up a pinch. System, you know what I'm talking about? Well, so both of the punches came out around the same time, right? But look at it. System. Start of animation, right? Both starting at the same time. Look at the left. Masvidal doing a beautiful check hook, stepping off to the side. It looked like when Pereira knocked old dude out. It's a beautiful thing. But the fact that he started the side moving check hook at the same time, the forward moving uppercut from Nate Diaz, who probably has a decent hand speed stat in the game, but probably not the best. Probably one of the borderline hand speed stats. Let's keep it a buck. If this is current Nate, that hand speed stat is low, and Masvidal hand speed stat is low. And maybe a little bit decent. Maybe a little bit better than Nate's. Give or take, right? Let's take a lead, right? So they both started at the same time, G. Same time. Schwack! Look at Masvidal's stamina. Nate Diaz took the brunt of the attack. in this situation. This is in the very bare bones situation. He took the brunt of the attack, right? So he got hurt. Whoopity doo dah. He got hurt in the brunt situation. But Masvidal still took damage. Now, say you on the back foot, your opponent's pressuring you, and you hurt, and you go to check hook, which should step you off the center line and should hit him with a counter punch and stop him from hitting you with that uppercut. But say you the hurt one, you taking a nap. It is what it is. But I digress.
Doctor stoppages,
yeah, finally,
brand new exciting submission system,
exciting,
and plenty more. And with
exciting.
that, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about today is the Real Impact System, which is essentially a catchphrase for the conglomeration of health events, facial.
Okay, conglomeration of health events, right? So there's a video, and I, for whatever reason, can't find it right now. Like it's one of the interviews that the development team did. They did like 5 or 6 interviews with MMA media and different personnel, right? So they all did this interview, right? And they talked about, scroll up, don't play with me. They all talked about, in traditional history with UFC games, the whole gameplay is about fishing for health events and knockdowns. And he's like, oh, this game is different. Ain't gonna be that. You ain't gonna be fishing for health events and knockdowns, right? This man just said a conglomeration of health events and animations and full body hit reactions, right? Full body hit reaction is like a dev term in case you don't know. And y'all crying about the beta. That shit is so crazy to me. It's not a real beta. Don't freak out. People crying about the beta. I understand if you felt slighted by it, but realistically, let's keep it $1.50.5, bro. Anybody who is not at Hollow Points level, anybody who's not at T Martin's level, anybody who's not at, what's that dude name? iPod Plays, whatever the nigga name was, all them big YouTubers. If you're not one of them, you are barely on EA's radar. Only thing they checking for on your channel is to make sure that you don't say nothing sus and that you don't say nothing super defamatory. Like if you straight up know some shit, like you behind the NDA wall and you know some shit and you say something, they looking for that. And they looking for like if you just outright start saying some wild stuff, like you start talking some wild shit. That's the only people they looking for. But as far as like giving people beta codes, the Game Changers got codes. And for a marketing ploy to let the Game Changers like shift out a whole bunch of codes, but that's just a like, hey, look, this nigga really in here. Get your people on. Yeah, get it to your friends. It's really just a play. It's a play. It's a play to get y'all like hype about it. Like, yeah, get your friends in. But check yourself before you wreck yourself. If you a 6K sub YouTuber, a 200 sub YouTuber, they not thinking about you. They not thinking about if they got you into the beta test. They don't care. For one, they really don't want your opinion. 2, they don't want your feedback. 3, they already got niggas that's lining up to play the game and do the stress test that they're trying to do. So whatever they testing, they already got people. And they definitely don't want to put it in the hands of somebody who might take it and do some shicey shit with it. So they not looking for you. You might fucking record 20 hours of that gameplay. And then when the review embargo lift, you might be like, shit, look at all this beta gameplay. A closed beta, they not looking for none of that. Now, an open beta, that's a media thing. That's like get everybody's eyes on it. Let's see everybody's opinions. And even if your opinion can't actually help them, because in most cases, bro, they not listening to you. They not listening to you. They not listening to him. They not listening to that nigga. They not listening to nobody. They doing what they want to do and they making their game. You got to think about this from the perspective of the developer. To them, the game is art. It's their art, not your art. But what you talking about is their art. So they gonna do what's best for their art. Point blank, period. So don't feel slighted by the beta thing, because really, it ain't even about you. It ain't even that deep. Like they don't even know who did or didn't get the codes. They put them shits in a random number generator and was like, hiya! And whoever get in that bit, get in that bit. That's really what it is.
Full body hit reactions, overall authentic damage, and the impact they have on a fight. Unlike previous games where injuries to the athletes were mainly superficial, UFC 5 introduces an innovative impact system that accurately reflects the physical toll the athlete undergoes during a match, which influences both the athlete's condition and the ultimate match results. This is demonstrated visually with the all-new damage icons. Now, before we get
this is demonstrated visually with the all-new damage icons. Icons, like the health event you saw before that you wasn't quite sure if it meant his leg was hurt. Now you got an icon, a visual indicator. But in ranked games, don't they turn off the hood so you wouldn't see your opponent's icons? I mean, I don't know. I hadn't played the game in like 4 years. So right Like legit, hadn't played the game in like 4 years. So in ranked, will you see the icons? Because if you don't see the icons, they don't fucking matter, G. Like if the icons ain't there, they don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But they talk about realistic damage displayed in the form of full icons. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so if I hurt your leg in a real life fight right now, my leg kick you. The icon is on your leg. It's that big embroidered mark. It's the way you walk. It's the way you step. It's how you interact with your moves. It's how you do stuff, right? So like, if you're talking about realistic damage and realistic display of image, yeah, all this bullshit, you saying a bunch of shit, and they saying a lot. But what they ain't saying is nothing that matters. They saying a bunch of malarkey, a bunch of shit just to get you hype. Like just a bunch of mini games. It's all mini games. They might have removed the submission mini game, but the damage system is a mini game of its own. Oh, watch this shit. Hold up. Wait till you see.
Into these icons, I can't stress enough just how much more impactful this new damage system is going to be in UFC 5. The few times that I've played against another player, every single time I got cut, it was like, oh my god, you really got to reevaluate what you're doing. You got to watch out. In UFC 5, as you guys are going to see once we start talking about these damage icons in a moment, getting cut, getting damaged, it really, really means something and has an impact in the way the fight actually plays out. The vision penalty.
Sure. The vision penalty. It starts off there.
The icon.
Bam! Hit with a head kick. So hit with a head kick, big ass indicator comes up. If you see my cursor, you see me swabbling it. His stamina completely thrashed, right? He got this coin purse, WWE briefcase thing going on. I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean. It also has this indicator, which used to mean that a move wasn't assigned, but hey, whatever. Reuse assets. it's cool. It's showing an indication of a head thing, and then his head health meter is up there. It's real tiny. It's a bunch of really little, like super subtle indicators on the menu, right? So boom, dude's in the health event. Wow.
Could lead to visual impairment, like the brows, the eye, the forehead, etc.
Okay, he's talking about vision impairment and all that. How is vision impairment going to be relayed to the player in the game via the information available in the game? Is vision impairment something that's going to be designed to treat your fighter's accuracy different, make it to where he can't land strikes because he's not as accurate? Is it going to make it to where he can't move into the right positions because, once again, his depth perception's off, so he might not be able to take the right steps?
Leads to an increase in the amount of damage you take on the affected side.
Oh, okay. So when your eyes is hurt, your head just takes more damage on the side that your eye is hurt on. So if you get punched in the nose and your nose is hurt and you get hit upside the head in the neck or something, you're just going to take more damage. It ain't going to have no other impact on you other than the fact that you take more damage.
Penalty is active. If no further
and he said why the penalty is active. Earlier, man, like 2 to 4 minutes ago, I said something about, they talked about how damage and health events was not going to be the thing, is not the juice. Okay, a window of time that opens up where you take more damage after being hit hard and having a health issue. Now you have a duration of how long that matters. That sounds like an event to me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm drunk. That sounds like an event to me.
Occurs to the affected location in 30 seconds. The penalty is lifted. The penalty is also
lifted, just removed. Now, I'm okay with a penalty, right? And if you're supposed to be displaying realistic damage and all that jazz, right? I'm okay with a penalty, all right? But you say the penalty is lifted. Now, to what degree is it lifted? I mean, obviously, the way it always worked is if you were triggered a health event, like if somebody got you in the leg stun, they can pretty much get you in the leg stun every time they hit that vulnerability. If they hit you at max vulnerability, you were back in the leg health event, you were back on skates, and you were about ready to go down. But the thing is, if it's supposed to be, what the heck? Reading this Instagram just threw me all the way off. Any Hoosers, if your leg is hurt, right, and the leg event has been triggered at one point in the past, the thing I've asked for consistently is for you to permanently represent that you've been hurt, and not in the form of a HUD. If you can't turn the HUD off and still tell what parts of the body of the fighter's hurt, then it's not realistic yet. I always say this shit, bruh. Open up and I'm not going to advocate for emulators, but if you have access to WWE, the WWE No Mercy, motherfucking WrestleMania 2000, games that came out 99, 90, 2000, games like that, access to WCW Revenge, go in that game and leg kick your opponent a bunch of times and watch how your opponent's body contorts to the fact that he's been leg kicked. He starts to hold his leg. He starts to walk with a limp. It doesn't affect his moveset. It doesn't, I think on No Mercy, it might stop you from being able to throw high kicks. I'd have to replay No Mercy to make sure it actually changed your moveset. But visually, your fighter will walk with a limp for the remainder of the match. And it's wrestling. This ain't even realistic. It ain't even depicting something that actually really hurts. I mean, wrestling hurts. I mean, I ain't about to go on the soapbox with you, but that's a wrestling game from 99. When your head hurt that game, your character holds his head and he walks with his hand on his head for the rest of the fight. When his body hurt, they hold their waist and they walk with their waist held for the rest of the fight. This is a game from 99. And you telling me that in 2023, the best you can do is an icon?
Lifted at the start of a new round. The breathing penalty icon appears when an athlete sustains an injury to the nose or mouth. This impact will decrease the short-term stamina recovery for as long as the penalty is active. If the athlete can protect against subsequent damage to the affected area, the penalty will be lifted in 30 seconds or at the start of a new round.
Okay, so you get punched in the mouth so you can't breathe. And if you can just avoid getting punched in the mouth again, you'll be able to breathe again. Not if you're able to slow down the pace of the fight and completely avoid damage and avoid interactions and all that other stuff. Just if you can dodge for 30 seconds, if you can just stay out of sight for 30 seconds. That is a health event, my G. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how you slice it. It's a health event. Keep it a spade a spade. People ain't going to be so like hard on things if you don't call them things that they're not. If you say what isn't and say it is, people going to be in a tizzy. See, I'm 17 minutes into a video when I'm supposed to be watching a 21-minute video. Bro, ain't no way. Look, it's a miss. It's a dud. Try again. Ain't no fish in this barrel. This shit is over with. Ain't no way. Look, I'm telling y'all right now, if this game is on EA Play? If this game is a day one on EA Play, I might try it through cloud. But if that shit is ass through cloud, I'm going to use that and base my whole judgment off the entire game, off the cloud service. If this bitch is cloud available, I might play a round, but I ain't going to make it. I ain't even make it 2 minutes into the video. I'm 17 minutes into this one. Ain't no way. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Keep it a buck. New grappling shit sounds cool. In theory, if you're good at denying transitions and good at stopping your opponent from making transitions in the grappling, you're going to choke everybody unconscious. Like, ain't nobody surviving. Like, anybody who's got lockdown ground defense, and if you can really hold somebody in the position, advance it to a submission, and then force them to have to play the denial game over and over and over, and if you're better at that than them, you're winning every time. Grappling, I gave up when UFC 4 took all the old grappling out, put the new stuff in. Completely threw that shit out the water. I ain't even want to interact with it. When I heard that the takedown was 2 buttons, I was done for. They changed the uppercut to be different buttons. They put a spinning button in the game. I heard something from Raymond in a different video saying that if you hold a certain strike, it'll turn from one thing to another thing. Okay, sure, for the people that it matters for. But if everybody can do it, we got a different problem. I mean, look, I trained MMA for a long time. I have been a fan of the sport since before any of you were born. Literally, the sport started, and I watched the first event. When UFC 1 happened, my dad bought it on pay-per-view, and we watched it. I watched that as a kid, and I watched the sport from that day all the way into the future. I don't watch as much now, different reason, but just know, this sport was very important to me for a huge subsection of my life, and video games that connected to this sport was the fastest, most safe way to connect with it. And then I started doing it in real life and training and being in those rooms and being in that environment. And that really pushed my mind to the next level to what to expect. You would think that with that information and with the information I provided through the years of this channel and provided through the years of content, that would somehow trickle back downward and get people more in line with that line of thinking and get the developers to react to that style of thinking and to make a game that is worth your salt. But you're about to spend $70 on last year's throwaway content with new logos on the mat, a mini game they stripped out, modes you never asked for, probably missing modes that you played last year that you liked. Nothing really new. Characters are going to have generic movesets. 80% of the roster will be the same fighter with just a slightly different package of strikes. All that shit they did in UFC 3 with the different people having very specific things might be reversed with this new contextual control situation. So Dominic Cruz might not be nearly as special. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson might not be as special. People like Angela Hill, who had all these special stuff in UFC 3, and all these people who had these moves that contextually became something else, like that shit might not matter because the controls might wipe that shit out because everybody gonna have the shit. The same problem we had with UFC 1, everybody having the same fucking moveset, might be the case here too. Just go into the game with that in your mind and you'll probably be fine. But for me personally, if I'm going to interact with something on a daily basis, I can't be on skates the second I get on it. I can't already have it in my mind that this ain't gonna be it before I ever touch it, because I am not the type to interact with it. Bro, I get home at almost 8 o'clock at night. I don't have time to sit here and be frustrated. And I'm not gonna do it. I've done it for years. I did it through thick and thin with UFC 1 and UFC 2, hoping for a better day. I did it for UFC 3 and 4. I couldn't take it. I hit my wall. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it, and I won't. I'm going to play this bitch on cloud. Like I said, if this bitch is cloud available, I'm going to play 1 to 3 matches, tops. I might play a tutorial just so I don't get grappled the one time and it taken down. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, when UFC Undisputed 2020, Undisputed, the second Undisputed, THQs, not 3, but the second one, I was a crazy leaderboard hunting warrior on 2. You on UFC 1, on Undisputed 1 as well. I was all over the leaderboard. That's all I wanted to do. 2, bruh, I was the dude in the forums finding the glitch, figuring out what ways to break down whatever game plan I was working on the meta, and then breaking that down and understanding that, and then using that to ladder climb. And I was using that to grind. I was out there wrestling people into oblivion in the months where wrestling was strong, and in the months where striking was strong, I was back to knocking people silly. I was the guy doing all of that stuff with all of those guys back then. We was all on that same wave. That game, there was a rewarding upside to doing it. And it wasn't money. It was just pure enjoyment. I have not felt that at any point playing any of the EA UFCs. Keep it a buck.
But they'll still have a...
This one will not change my mind. That will not be different. It's going to be the same shit again. Same bullshit. I can't do it. Sorry.
Actual transition.